I'm Lisa, and I'm a student of Athabasca University's Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies program, and I am collaborating with AU's Writing Support Center, the Right Site, to bring you these videos on creative approaches to academic writing. Today we'll be taking a closer look at the academic writing process, and we'll see how poetry, yes, poetry, and storytelling can help us with our academic communication. Today, I know my writing process can look a little something like this. How about you? In your writing process, do you A, outline, B, stare out the window, C, go for a walk, D, all of the above, or E, none of the above? Stay tuned for the answers.
Come to an understanding of what is your individual writing process. Yes, we all do some similar things, but we do them in different ways.
Write outlines, but I wrote an abstract and I pretend that the whole thing is done already. That sort of anchors me. Then I go and say, write an introduction or methodology. Then I go for a walk, only Google Scholar to collect articles, and I would photograph the screen to collect, and then I would be reading something. Then I would be going back to the writing. Then I would throw away a piece of it, as you say, and in a way, the reason I had the confidence to do it in such a fashion is because I had so much practice.
Writers do some form of pre-planning. Yes, there is drafting, and then there is revision, and then there is eventually publishing. And we created this linear model, whether it was straight across this way or circular, as I've seen both. That's not what writing does. It's recursive.
Now, it may seem that poetry and academic writing are language cousins, many times removed. And the only thing they have in common is a shared distant ancestor, words. Have you ever considered how adopting a poet's mindset could help you refine your academic communication?
My work as writer in residence at the University of Alberta Hospital, I was poet on the wards, where I had a poetry booth in the hallway at the hospital. And I wrote haiku spontaneously for anyone who wanted a haiku. They would come by, tell me something about themselves, and I'd write a haiku for them. And I ended up writing 40 of those haikus in a day, And I was so honed that editing was easier after that in writing work I was doing. I noticed the difference.
Writing is also about rhythm and having a sense of the rhythm of your sentences. Sometimes I'll see writing and all the sentences sort of have the same length, the same cadence, and that becomes like a drone as you're reading it. If you can work in other genres like music, for example, or even poetry, which emphasizes the idea of rhythm so much and placement of language, that then you start thinking more about in academic writing, well, how can I make this, where I had to make this long, detailed explanation, if I end it with a punchy ending sentence, that's going to grab the reader.
Creative writers have defined writerly voices. If they take the approach that an essay is essentially a story that they're telling about something, maybe this can encourage the writer to invest more energy in their narrative presence. This will create a unique paper that promotes readability and flow.
Our brains are hardwired for storytelling. Storytelling can be an engaging teacher, and metaphor a powerful pedagogical tool. I recently came across a blog post by an evolutionary biologist, Tom Housley, who did just that. He chose to approach his academic research and writing in a sort of hero's journey narrative structure. After all, as academic writers, we are the protagonist, heading out on an adventure to the underworld of not yet knowing. And through a series of trials, our investigations and our research, we return with the elixir of knowledge that transforms us and helps transform our world for the better. Using such a narrative framework can make our writing more compelling. We can think of our ideas as characters that we must develop and make them more memorable for our readers. We can write about our ideas in the active voice to help them come alive.
First of all, the importance of detail. I think I mentioned that earlier. One thing to say, there's a girl sitting on a car in the summer rain, and that has some detail, and it's pretty general. But what if you said, a barefoot girl on the hood of a Dodge sipping warm beer in soft summer rain? And that specificity is what's engaging. Generalities are not engaging. They don't pull you. And if I look at, every writing genre has different things that are more important to it. But if I look at something that seems to be across writing, it's the importance of detail.
Thank you for watching our video series on creative approaches and creative writing approaches to the academic writing process. I hope you learned as much as I did.